When I go to Sacramento, I will pump up Sacramento.
Some say the news is fake. Others say it's real. These two don't have the time to check. Instead, Turner Sparks and Michael Ira Kaplan turn to comics stationed around the globe to be their eyewitness reporters so that you can know what's really going on. This is Lost in America.
All right, everybody, welcome to Lost in America, episode 211. My name's Turner Sparks.
And I am Michael Kaplan.
You can find me at turnersparks.com. You can find Kaplan at Cap in America on Instagram. Also, this show is at Lost in America Pod on Instagram. Lost in America, the letter in, Lost in America Pod on Twitter. Kaplan on the show today. We have Oleg Denisov has come back, to explain.
Returning guest.
We're returning guest talking about the Russia hack. But before we get to him, and we're going to learn all about spies in Russia, the KGB, the whole organization, the whole network over there at the Kremlin. But before we get to him, Cap, let's talk about Patreon. How do people tell the people about Patreon?
Patreon, tell the people you can get this show, our show on Patreon 3 times a week, correct? That's what we're giving away. 3 times a week. It's called Live from the Bunker, and it's a little look inside of our lives. We say Lost in America is about the world. We learn about the world. Live from the Bunker, the world learns about us. Much more important. We are the world on Live from the Bunker. We are the world. So you learn about me dealing with my kids and remote bunkering up and schools being shut down left and right. And I had coronavirus last week and I'm recovered. I'm on the mend. We learn about you. You're down there in Virginia on the lam, running away from New York's problems.
I am in Virginia. You'll find out why. You also found out why Kaplan, if you're watching on YouTube, has a giant gash on his nose right now, which we will not tell you.
No.
You have to go to patreon.com/Lost in America to find out.
On this show, all I say is you should see the other guy. But on Live from the Bunker, you hear the story.
For $5 a week, we give you those 3 extra episodes. 3 extra episodes. $5 a month, we give you those 3 extra episodes a week. And then for $10 a month, you not only get those 3 extra episodes, but you get Kaplan, hold up the mug. You don't get a mug. You get a t-shirt. You get a
t-shirt with this logo. If you're on YouTube right now,
Lost in America, #1 in Armenia t-shirt. You can also go buy the mug. Find all that at lostinamericapod.com. And for $20 a month, I had someone asking about this week. They said, hey, we heard you have Magic Spoon advertising. They're not in this episode. We heard you have Magic Spoon advertising. How much do they charge? I told them, of course, off the record. I'm not going to say it on here, how much they charge. A
lot of money.
How much we charge them. And they said, but for $20 a month, I can get an ad once a month on your show, and Magic Spoon pays far beyond that. I said, yes, you can. If you go to patreon.com/Lost in America for $20 a month, you get a once a month ad. You get the t-shirt, you get the 3 extra episodes a week, and you're contributing to the life of this show. Our Patreon subscribers are the engine that drives this show, Cap.
What was the person asking you, my daughter, Ruby Kaplan? Because she's been hassling me nonstop for the money. She wants to know when I'm getting a Magic Spoon money, when I'm buying or something with it, but no.
Oh, she thinks the money flows straight to her.
Flows straight to her. She thinks I'm super rich now because we have one advertisement. So,
well, Cap, we do have you said some mail, some hate mail. Some mail came in from a subscriber. We're not going to play the hate mail music. Let's save that for the other show. But just read the mail to us.
Yeah, this is I think fan mail. So I don't know if we even have to play the music. And it's from Kara Sergio. And
shout out to Kara.
Yeah, she writes, all right. I have checked out your podcasts. The one where the Belarusian correspondent discussed being kidnapped by his country's secret police, and he's hilarious. And the one where the Chilean correspondent discussed his country's lack of leadership and his plot to murder his wife to run for office, which is a brilliant strategy.
Wait. Slow down. Stop, Kaplan. The Chilean comedian talking about...
Yeah, she's mixing up episodes.
That was the Peru episode.
That was the Peruvian episode. I was going to let it. I thought our fans are always right, so I wasn't going to correct her.
No. The Peruvian episode was when the plot to kidnap. If you run for office in Peru, if you're elected official in Peru, you cannot be tried for a crime.
Yes, so you kill your wife and then you run for office.
That's if you accidentally kill your wife, you better run for office immediately. That did not happen in Chile, right?
No, that was a whole different thing. That was a constitution. Anyway, she goes on to say, you guys are going to give Bill Maher a run for his money.
That's the goal, Kaplan.
That's the goal. Just do me a favor and don't tell anyone I checked out your podcast, because then they'll want me to check out theirs. Well, we just outed her there. But thank you, Kara. Thank you for the nice
Thank
words.
you, Kara. That is the issue. Everyone has a podcast these days. Speaking of podcasts, let's get to ours, Kaplan.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're talking about today is this has been in the news in the United States, but I'm unclear on the details until I research this. So Russia. I guess do we have to say allegedly, or is it 100% sure it's Russia?
Well, according to our president, it's allegedly, because he said it could have been China. But everybody else is saying it was Russia.
Including the Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State. Everyone else in the U.S. government says it was Russia hack. And you want me to explain the hack real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Basics of what happened.
Give us a rundown.
All right, so it's a little difficult to explain, but I'll give it a shot. Here's what happened: is you get updates, right? I think it was a Microsoft update. So basically, these computers are built. All of our computers, the Google, everything, they're all built to block any hacking, any intruders, any viruses. That's the way they operate. But if you upload a virus to your computer willingly, they can't stop that. Okay. No. So what they did, there was a Microsoft update, as far as I understand, in March of this year, and 18,000 different companies got the update. They got it because they used this program called Orion. Now, the Orion program, I don't want to go too deep here, but what Orion does, say you work for McDonald's, Kaplan, okay?
Yes.
You're in the head office.
Let's say Arby's. I'm at Arby's.
You're the IT guy in the head office at Arby's. There's Arby's around the United States of America selling their roast beef. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to have an IT guy at every single Arby's location. So they have you at the head office. And now if you have the Orion software, you can control all of their computers around the U.S. So if they have an issue in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you can get into their computer real quick, solve the problem. That's Orion. They create that software. 18,000 companies in America use it, including Department of Defense, including
the State Department, CDC, the Homeland Security, the Pentagon,
the NSA,
the people who control the nukes, pretty much everybody.
The people who control the nukes, literally. So everyone in America is using this one company, which I would argue just off the bat, bad idea. You might want to separate. So what the Russian hackers hacked into Orion, that program. They hacked into the company which built the program. And then at some point, all of those companies, all those 18,000 companies got an automatic update offer from Microsoft to update their computers. Now, latched onto that update, that was a real update, but latched onto that update was a virus. Okay.
Little virus.
So once they updated their computer, the virus got inside and bang, they're in. Now, from March until now, the Russian hackers have been inside these American computers, just learning information. I'm not exactly sure what they're
hanging
doing.
Hanging out. Maybe they want to be on the kids' Zoom classes. They want to get an American education. We don't know if it's sinister. We don't know what their motives were.
Now we figured it out that they're in, and that's where we're at now. Okay, so they've shut down Orion. They're telling everyone, okay, don't worry about it. It's shut down, but we don't know if that means it seems to be they're still in. So let's bring in Oleg.
Yeah, let's find out because he probably, everyone in Russia is probably talking about this successful hack, and he'll tell us all the stuff he's learned about us. So
are there parades happening? That's my first question. So before we bring him in, he's a great comedian out of Russia. He's gone to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He tours all over the place. He owns a comedy club in Moscow that, Kaplan, we are going to go to at some point.
When we get to number one in Russia, we're going.
It's called the Steal the Show Comedy Club. You can go check it out, stealtheshow.net. They have shows every week in 3 languages, including one of them being English, another one being Russian, and a third one, I believe, Spanish. Oleg, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Nice to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Thank you for coming back.
I think the first thing you need to know, if you want to be number one in Russia, you shouldn't talk to people like me. It's not...
Off to a rough start.
So what's going on? What is the news that's in Russia about this whole thing? Or is there news?
The point is, to put it short, there's no news. There is news, but it's definitely not a number one bit. It's like, yes, we hack America. Like another day at the office. What's the problem? Yeah,
another day at the office.
Maybe turn your may the Western press turn their attention to something like really interesting, like poisoning people. Really, like in general, and I believe that would be even the point of view of a large percentage of the Russian public as well. The general position about it would be that everybody's trying to hack everybody. So sometimes like we are successful, sometimes somebody else is successful, but people in Russia in general see it as a maybe not exactly fair competition, but it's kind of more or less like a competition that everybody should be ready for. So yeah, there was some news about this hacking, but again, like in Russia, it's not like even like in top 10 like news.
No one's talking about it. There's no parades through Moscow right now.
No, not. I can't see any from my window now. I can't.
Is it because it was considered this is not a big deal? This is kind of an easy hack getting in like this kind of...
Yeah, as I said, like this is another day at the office. It's as far as I understand, they believe that America is trying to hack like our like election, and trying to hack our like different like security systems, and sometimes we do that. And this is like nothing is out of bounds there. Like you can do it. It's fine.
It's fair because everybody's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, what would a hack of an American hack of a Russian election even look like? It would be if Putin lost, maybe they would say it was a hack, or what happened?
Yeah. No. First of all, I would say like if Americans like or anybody tried like the same tactics of hacking, which is kind of like install update like from Microsoft or something like this.
Yeah.
Because in Russia, like people, I'll just give you one example, how we kind of like these unnecessary rules. I hate installing updates. I was like, great. Like, I think this gives everybody a good argument not to install any updates. You're like, what if it's a Russian hack?
Yeah.
I wanted to, so as
keeping myself safe.
Yes. As I was reading about this last night, I assume Kaplan, because I'm a famous procrastinator, and I imagine Kaplan's on the same side here as me and as you. I never install these updates. I always wait till my computer's running really, like basically shutting itself down.
I'm the other way around. I install them because I feel like it's like I felt like I did something today. I was successful. Look, I can't write right now because I got to install this update and my computer's got to reboot. So there's my excuse why I'm not working on my novel right now. Got to walk away from the computer, let it update, do its thing.
I mean, as genius as that is, Kaplan, I never thought of that. Yeah. I'm always the guy who, my computer almost won't start. I mean, this happened to me like a month ago, and I couldn't figure out why. I looked up online and they're like, well, did you install blah, 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 blah update? I realized it's an update from 3 years ago that I never installed, and my computer is like, we're done. We're over with. So I felt good about myself reading all this information, as Oleg did, because I was like, I never install anyway. So we're good to go.
Especially like for many Russians, we have such natural resistance to like a natural kind of tendency to not like rebel, but to bypass the rules. To bypass the rules, they gives the Russians a lot of pleasure. Just as an example, when they started actually enforcing like fines and arrests for not wearing a seatbelt where you're driving a car.
Yes,
of course, some of the Russian companies started producing two very useful things for people who just don't want to do it. First of all, is a T-shirt with a picture of a seatbelt.
So the police wouldn't know. That's a brilliant idea.
It looks like a body double.
And then, it's just like you see somebody driving, and the policeman sees you driving, and you have this like black line. And they're like, okay, he's wearing a seatbelt.
The glasses that show your eyes are open when you're asleep, kind of.
And after that, when they introduced like there were some new cars, which like from Japan and stuff, like where they have like this annoying sound when the seatbelt is not like plugged into the thing. Ding. So there were some companies started producing like a dummy like metal things like at the end of the seatbelt. You put them in.
Yes.
And it stops going. And
Oh,
the sound
so you don't hear
stops.
that noise?
Oleg, I've seen those when I lived in China. I was there for 12 years. They had the same thing. So I thought you might talk about this. It's it's the exact same shape as the click in part of the seatbelt, but it's not connected to a seatbelt. So you just click it in so you don't have to then wear your seatbelt. And it got so far in China. They might have done this in Russia. There was multiple companies. Like you could buy a Winnie the Pooh one. You could buy a Mickey Mouse one. They were accessorizing these things.
I wish I had that because I used to drive my grandfather around late in his life when he basically decided I'm not wearing seatbelts anymore because who cares? I've made it to 90. And he couldn't hear the noise. So I would be driving and it's just being. I'd be like, I can't. You gotta put your seatbelt on, grip. I can't. He's like, I don't hear anything, and it's like, so that's a great gift idea for in that situation.
So what I wanted to say, like in relation to like hacking and like installing updates, I just now came up with a plan for America to hack Russian computers. Ooh. Here it goes. Yeah, you see, we like Russians also receive like these updates. And some of us, they have because people are tired of it and they don't want to bypass this like necessary updates. So some people, again, develop a special like app for the computer, which allows it to run and without asking you for updates all the time. And this is the app that you should put the virus into. Russians will install it on the computers.
Kaplan, it's come to this. We've had to do the work that our CIA, our FBI, they should be doing. Now we're doing it for them. We're finding out how to hack. Hack Russia. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we should also say the part of the story was that in the American company that makes this software, there was somebody came to them last year and said, hey, by the way, we figured out your password is the name of the company and 123.
Yeah, SolarWinds 123.
SolarWinds 123. So they changed it then, but they didn't change it to something great if they had it that to begin with. So I assume Russians have better passwords because they're aware of hacking as being such a part of life almost, that they're just more paranoid people in this respect, or because Americans were too trusting. I think that's part of our problem overall.
Yeah, I mean, like I think if we talk about like the possibility of Russians kind of worrying about them being hacked, it's like there's very few people in Russia who haven't come to terms with the fact that they're always under surveillance and all the data is like in the always available to like special services, and in general from there. And we will get to that a little bit later. I think we'll be talking about like Navalny and stuff. Like their data is available to the special services, and from them, it's basically available to anybody because there's a lot of corruption in how this data is being stored, and who has access to it.
That's a great point, Kaplan. I was living in China when the whole Edward Snowden stuff happened.
Oh,
right, 10 years ago or so.
Huge celebrity.
And the biggest surprise to me, because being gone for 12 years, I think probably like 7 or 8 years at that point, you lose touch with the culture, the mindset, the American mindset a bit, right? And the biggest surprise to me was that when all this information came out that the US government was looking into everyone's computers, I was surprised that people were surprised. After living in China for 8 years, you do kind of you start to understand. It becomes a fact of life that everyone's looking at your information all the time. And also it's happening in America. And the fact that people were taken aback by this, and a big part of it was, yeah, but it's Obama. We have Obama. He wouldn't be doing that. It's like everyone's doing that. That's the way it goes. So I could see if in Russia, if they've come to terms with that, then people are a little more savvy than the average American might be in terms of passwords and everything. Can I ask this, Oleg? Because when I read this story, my first thought was, oh, this was done by the KGB. Now, I thought it was done by the KGB. I have to be honest. I didn't even 100% know what the KGB was. I thought it was, okay, it's the CIA of America. I went to look it up. And the KGB doesn't even exist.
First thing you learned is it's not called the KGB anymore.
Yeah,
it's not called the KGB.
Yeah, it was done by Santa Claus. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's somebody who doesn't exist, really.
Now we're gonna go to number one in Russia. Yeah, it wasn't done by the KGB.
Santa Claus hacked. That's what I've been saying. I'm Jewish. I've been saying that forever.
So there's three I don't know if branches the right terms, but there's the SVR, the FBS, the GRU. Can you explain to us a little bit what happened to the KGB historically and where we're at now with all these organizations?
Well, now, yes, now it's called FSB, like, which is kind of like the KGB is directly, it's a direct like descendant. It's the phase FSB. It's what KGB is now. It's just called differently. It has the same offices, same address, same people.
And Boris Yeltsin did that. Is that when it happened?
Yeah, like after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was renamed partly.
Or FBS, excuse me, FBS maybe. Federal
FSB.
Security Service? Or is
FSB.
it FSB?
Like
Okay.
it's called in Russian it's called like FSB, like Federal Service of Safety. Well, FSS it would be probably Federal Safety Service or Protection Service, something like this. FBS.
The acronym they go with is FSB. I'm sorry, I'm confusing things here. So in
this they have the same office, the same structure, the same authorities like generals, and like they just directly transferred to this thing. And actually in some of the countries like post-Soviet countries, like they didn't feel the need to rename it. For example, not in some, but chiefly in Belarus, right? In Belarus, it's still called KGB.
Okay.
Because it's like they don't feel the need. Because in Russia, during Perestroika and after Perestroika and after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there was a lot of there was this tendency which went on throughout the 90s, but actually stopped during Putin. And this is the tendency to reveal some of the secret documents and some of the activities that KGB did, including to classify exactly, and like namely like about Stalin's times when people like repressions and persecutions, Gulag, everything like this. So kind of KGB at this point had a really bad name, so they kind of decided we change a couple of letters.
Yeah, rebranding.
Rebrand. Yeah, we do a rebrand.
And Putin was in charge of it was still the KGB when he was there, right? He was an agent for many years.
He was in the KGB, and then I think he was in FSB as well. But then at some point in the 90s, but even before he was a director of FSB right before he became prime minister. But during most of the 90s, he wasn't part of it. But as the people from FSB and from KGB say, there is no ex-KGB. There is no ex-FSB.
What's your reason?
Yeah, that's their one.
Well, you see that on movies all the time. Guys are always brought back in who try to retire.
One last job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Putin got a great one last job. Like one last job. Just be a president for 25 fucking years, okay?
Come on, Vlad. I know you want to retire and ride horses in the countryside.
Make a hero movie out of that in America. That'd be great. Putin gets called in for one last job.
To be fair, he can still ride horses in the countryside.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He can.
So why would they reveal those in the early 90s? Reveal all the old secrets to gain trust of the people, or what?
Well, yeah, it was kind of general tendency to be more democratic, to be more open. Yeah. And some of it was revealed, but not a lot. I know, as far as I know, in America, there's also like from time to time there are portions of information which are declassified from the CIA. I think, like from time to time it happens.
That happens. So the FSB is it's according to my research, they're the KGB or would be the CIA, but for like internal affairs in the country of Russia. And then you have the other one, the GRU, SVR, right?
SVR.
Go ahead.
SVR. Yeah, in Russian it would be it is SVR. It's the service of foreign intelligence, something like this. Like intelligence works in foreign countries. And then there's also GRU, which is GRU, which is the state intelligence agency or something like this, but it's an investigative.
And it seems like the GRU might report to the military, and the SVR reports to Putin directly. Is that the difference?
It's really hard to say who, like, especially if we take all of these all of these services, and like also there's a fourth one, which is basically the police, right?
Sure.
They all, and it's to be fair, it's really hard to understand like what is the, like, especially at the moment, what is the structure, what's the power structure, because the point of Russian like intelligence agencies, as far as I understand it, is that the point is everybody is accountable. Everybody should be held accountable at any point. So one is report on the other, and the other this report on this.
So they're all
this
telling
one.
on each other at all times,
Kind
ratting
of, as
each other
far
out.
as I understand, yeah. Like I think, as I understand, sometimes they don't have no idea what the other one is doing, but then at some point, like it all comes together. Like
the election,
especially if we talk about.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are some examples. I don't know about election, but you know, but the point is, right? The now KGB, like what we say now, we say FSB. I'm completely confused by you guys. Like, okay, because like we need to talk about the present and the past at the same time. So what was KGB?
We don't know anything, so feel free to start or end wherever you want.
Make a new acronym up if you want.
Yeah. Or should I ask a question? Is that better?
No, it's okay. It's because basically what is now FSB is former KGB, and I think this is the most important of these services which we should concentrate on, and the one with which most of the events of the recent years are directly related to.
Okay, so kind of forget for now. Kind of forget about the other one. So, do we know who it was? I read, I guess the reason why I'm asking this is because I read different reports. One said the FSB might have done this hack, and the other one says the SVR did this hack. Do you think they're all trying to claim it so that Putin likes one more than the other?
I don't think so. First of all, Putin is KGB himself. He's FSB and KGB. And famously, when he came to power and he became president, he was doing like a briefing or some kind of a report on the like a congress of FSB, and then he comes to the like some kind of a tribune, and people like they applaud him, and he became president. He said, "Comrades, the infiltration has been successful."
Good line.
No, this is. So wow. I think he has only one love out of these all.
There always be his favorite child.
Yes,
number one.
Yes. But I don't even think that it's not. I don't think it's correct to say that the hacking is done by the agency itself. It's a group of hackers, which I'm not even sure they're I'm sure some of them are not even necessarily stationed in Russia. It's some kind of it's hackers which are financed, which might be, I think, informed. Given some information, but I don't think it's done by like the FSB specialists themselves.
I see.
These are the hackers that we call Cozy Bear, right? This is like the American
government. Yeah.
It's like a unit, a Russian hacking team.
Yeah, we say that this hack was done by Cozy Bear, or at least that's what all the reports say. It's unclear what Cozy Bear is.
Smart Russian hackers or non-Russian hackers that they hire. Yeah.
Now, is there a culture of hacking? Like, are companies hacking other companies in Russia? Is that just a thing that happens? Because Russia seems to be better at this than most countries in the world, right?
Yeah. Well, at least we sell it better. At least we sell this idea better that we're so good at hacking. But in general, I think because you lived in China, right? How many years?
12 years.
12 years. Yeah, I think it both applies to China and to Russia, that we have sort of a relaxed attitude to what private property is.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Relaxed attitude to what public property is, what intellectual property is. So, for example, if a Russian company needs something from the American company, or a Chinese company needs something from the American company, they can just take it. Like, for example, the most famous, the most successful Russian social network, which is called VK. It's like, as originally it was copied almost exactly of Facebook.
Oh, they had one of those in China as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, of course, I don't know how the Chinese one works, but the Russian one became rapidly became very popular for the simple reason because in it you can find all sorts of pirated content, all the movies, all the music without paying for anything at all.
So
you,
I see what you're saying. So a lot of this, let's give a brief example. There used to be these DVD shops in the middle of Suzhou where I lived. Every city in China, it looked like a Blockbuster video. It looked like a video store when you went in, but every single thing was pirated. And not only would that be illegal in America, and it might technically be illegal in China on the books, but also the person running it, there would be some sense of shame maybe attached to it. Like, oh man, I stole all this and now I'm selling it, where that literally didn't exist. Meaning it wasn't like they were hiding their shame. It's like there was no shame, Yeah,
there was no shame, man. Yeah, it is similar. So even the concept of like taking something from a different source and just kind of replicating it or like putting it on the market for free or capitalizing on this somehow in the sphere of for example, if we talk about like actual physical property, this is a bit different, but with intellectual property in Russia, it's, as I said, like way more relaxed, the same as in China.
Well, and remember, Kaplan, we had this in America from 99 to 2001, depending upon what age our listeners are, they might remember this. Remember when was it
music?
Napster came out.
Those are the golden years in America for piracy.
I was in college then. I think you were almost out of college, but it's the same way. Being in college at that time was the best because we had this super fast internet that no one else in America had. You could download 100 songs a minute, and our brains flipped very quickly. A year earlier, we were all buying CDs for $20 each at Tower Records, and now we're getting it for free. And we didn't have shame attached to that either. We
ran all the record companies out of business, all the stores. But
exactly, everything's free. So, what about? Do you ever get news in Russia of American hacking you? Or does it happen?
I think if that somehow gets in the information space in Russia, it's given as they tried, but clearly the American hackers are not worthy of mentioning.
Well,
they're not successful enough to be.
It might be true though, because like I was saying to Turner off air, like we hear about like we'll have a successful hack on Iran, either us or the Israelis, where we take out their nuclear thing through a cyber virus. We've heard of stuff like that a few times, and I don't remember ever hearing of us like getting a really successful cyber attack in Russia. So either we haven't tried or
haven't heard about this.
Like I don't know what we're waiting for, but not the.
Is because also relating this to China, they're not the same country, obviously, but in China, there's a lot of people employed by the government to hack, but also comment, like leave comments. That's a job, to leave comments on news articles. And so, I mean, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people who do this, and that's just their job. They go to work every day and they do this. Is that the same in Russia?
Well, I think you read the reports about the troll farm. There's a lot of reports and a lot of people who worked at the troll farm in St. Petersburg. Have you heard about this?
Like, you mean like
refresh
bots?
Our memory?
To become an actual live bot?
No, but it's called it was called Internet Research Agency officially, and it was a company. It was a company which belonged to the one of like Putin's like friends, which is called called Prigozhin, and he's known colloquially as like Putin's cook, because originally he was he's in the restaurant business, like supported by the government. He also kind of Putin's friend, and he kind of during their internal parties, he kind of is the one responsible for catering. But also he's responsible for this troll farm, which is basically just a building, like an office block. full of different departments. In these departments, people that work there, they're not hackers. I mean, maybe they were hackers, but it's not what it's about. The point is, these people who like write comments, people who start like these campaigns, like on Facebook, for example, which like I think was in America, there were a lot of talk about this during Black Lives Matter, like all the riots and stuff. We should start like a fake support campaign or something like this.
Yeah, the people disinformation
so
campaign.
Yeah, disinformation. So there are like trolls. That's why it's called Troll Farm. So they kind of different department, like department which works in Russia, that works like for American affairs, like some.
Do they
Europe
have education for that, like training? Like how do they learn? Like we have to be able to type like Americans type or
yeah, like that's usually was one of the methods to identify that it's actually like a Russian troll rather than an actual person who starts this genuinely is the small notes about grammar and about how this person operates the English language. But in general, they are pretty convincing, and they have algorithms. Yeah. Yes, but sometimes it's clear that this is not a sentence that a native speaker would say, for example, and that's how it kind of identifies. But I mean, with Americans, I think it could be difficult because you don't speak proper English.
That is very true. We don't, especially online, people don't. So it's hard to, it's really hard to tell sometimes because people can just be, I mean, plenty of Americans can sound like they're not native speakers when they're online and angry about something. So is there a different like hierarchy of like,
so I think that's why,
what's that?
That's why the Russian trolls didn't start any campaign in Oxford University.
No,
it would be easier identifying. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's the King's English. The Queen's English you should be speaking. But is there a hierarchy almost to like the troll farm, the lowest end of hackers, or like there's a whole complex where you can like work your way up to become doing more high level things? Or do you know anybody?
Well, the point is like when speaking about Russia, and I noticed that a lot because I speak to a lot of like during my like tours and in Edinburgh and everywhere, like on different podcasts as well. One of the things which is almost always associated with Russia is the assumption that everything is very, very centralized in Russia, which is not true. And like Russians, especially like Russians who follow like modern Russian investigative journalism, they understand this is completely not the case. For example, the Troll Farm, which as a company belonged to Prigozhin, to this private businessman, but of course, it worked like in the interests of the government. But again, nobody can prove it because when Putin was asked about this, when it was all revealed, asked about this, what Prigozhin is your friend? He's like, well, yeah, he's like a kind of a buddy of mine. Yeah, I'm allowed to have friends. And then they say, but he was doing it in the interest of the Russian state. And he's like, how do you know that? It's a private company. Who cares? Like I don't.
So there's always a level of deniability, plausible deniability is always there. What about Putin? He said yesterday, I was just doing last minute research, and he said to SVR when they asked him about all this hacking, he said, of course, we did not do it. We had nothing to do with it. This is not us. But he also told SVR, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Oh, so a little pat in the back from maybe trying to motivate FSB a little bit, like SVR.
He sounds hilarious. I'm just going to say.
No, but it was also, I think it was recently, it was a day of like some kind of a professional holiday of the SVR.
They each have their own day.
So maybe that was the context.
Again,
it was their holiday party.
Use this context to kind of slide in a compliment.
And then we had an
dictators
American.
Are funnier, by the way. Sorry.
Sorry.
I said dictators do seem to have better comic timing. Not for nothing. Go on.
Yeah, they seem to have better timing in general.
They don't have to worry about, all of our politicians worry about getting reelected all the time.
Yes.
And so they're walking around on eggshells, but these guys can really stretch back and relax,
themselves.
They got time.
Yeah.
They got nothing but time. But one of our, I don't know who it was, some congressman or something said that a hack of this level First of all, there's been a lot of compliments in America going, actually, this was a great hack.
It's a real, yeah.
They go, this is one of the better hacks. That's why it had to be from Russia.
That's what I like about Americans. You appreciate professionalism. Like,
we do.
You have a whole culture based on that. You know, like if somebody can do something well, it should be put to good use.
Exactly.
Exactly. That really is like all the articles I've read. They go, first of all, you have to know, no amateur did this. This is high level stuff. But they also said that this could be seen as an act of war. And one politician said that. I forget who it was, but he said
Durbin,
this is an act of war. Who was it?
Senator Durbin, I believe, said that. Maybe
Senator Durbin. Is there any thought in Russia? You said no one's even talking about this in general, so this may be a dumb question. But is there any thought that this could lead to war? Maybe from Putin's. Putin seems to not think that in any way, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, but they're now. I don't know if how much this term is used and if it's used at all. Actually, now in America, do you use the term hybrid war?
Hybrid war?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah,
we use hybrid to describe puppies that are two different breeds, but no.
Yeah, so that's a continuation of this idea. Yeah, so hybrid war is essentially an interesting term. It's originally, of course, not Russian. It's originally from like political science, I believe, like in America or Europe. And then we have a very good political scientists in Moscow, liberal political scientists, who used this and who kind of popularized this to describe like hybrid, like for example, hybrid regime, hybrid democracy is a kind of like a dictatorship which puts on the facade of democracy, something like what Russia has, what like some even China is to some extent a hybrid regime. Like it's not like North Korea isn't, for example.
Yes,
but Russia is. Yeah. So and a hybrid war is a term which was picked up by Putin and by Russian like pro-government like politicians and political commentators. And hybrid war is basically a way to describe this kind of what they call this hybrid war, like spread of like presumably fake information, disinformation, hacking. So basically everything which is hostile actions, sanctions, for example, everything which is hostile actions, but without actual like conflict, like physical.
No bombs are being dropped. Yeah. I think in America, I mean, maybe political scientists are calling it a hybrid war. I think the average person in the newspapers, it's called like the new Cold War almost, or the internet Cold War, something like that.
Possibly, but I think in general, if you look at it from the point of view of just like how the language works, it's the term war itself is it's a little bit of a scaremongering from like in somebody's political interest because there's actually no like open conflict, but we need to somehow emphasize that it's serious.
Yeah, we're not going to fire any missiles at Russia over this. That seems obvious to me.
And the end goal here, this is kind of my big question. So obviously they got a lot of information, and some people say, as Kaplan said, access to the nukes, like
access to the State Department, your brother's information.
Yeah, they know all about my brother. They know nothing about me, by the way, but everything about my brother. So. But obviously, we don't think that Putin's sitting in a big, like, Captain Evil chair with his finger on a button, ready to just start shooting off American nuclear missiles at Canada or something. What is the end goal with Putin and the Kremlin and everybody on all these hacks? Just is it like what's the point?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
You're our Putin spokesman, and as far as we're concerned. So.
What would you think the point would be? Yeah.
It's really hard to say. I think first of all, I think what's important for them now is just the acquiring like inside information from this. That's the main goal. Inside information. If they get into like the government, like government agencies in America, that gives them a lot. They might possibly be searching for what compromat is. Compromat, like it's a Soviet word, but it's I think used internationally, which is like some information which can be used as leverage for like
how to
blackmail somebody
into a compromising situation. So, for example, if Now, I think this has been proven this did not happen, but there was a rumor years ago that Trump went to Russia, got peed on by a prostitute.
Yeah, like this sort
Golden
of stuff.
shower.
A golden shower, and Russia now had him under their thumb. They could control him because of
And Hillary, I think the same rumor, but just to be fair. She did the peeing. No.
Same prostitute. Same time. Yeah. What I read that's interesting is there's 3 basic principles of the Russia, the KG, whatever the umbrella KGB. One is that Russia is constantly at risk. Another is that any loss for the West is a gain for Russia. And the third is that action is always better than inaction. So shoot first, ask questions later.
It's play to the fans. Just do something. Fans don't want it. It's more exciting that way. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what you can find, but you have to do something. If you're an intelligence agency, something like this. Yeah, that's actually one of the main, through ideas which are going through Russian, investigative journalism and over the last 10, 15 years of the Russian political science, independent political science, of course, is that the idea that comes forward very often is that the Kremlin in general wants us to believe that they have a big general plan. But in fact, they don't have a general plan. It's exactly this sort of KGB mentality which Putin brought there. It's kind of that you do something, you do some actions, but you have no general plan. And in the moment, you react to the most recent action by your opponent.
Development,
and you
whatever was the result, you react to that.
Yeah. So I can't, I can't not notice this, that this sort of strategy in general, this sort of strategy is, for example, similar to how, for example, now the new developments in education are described, is that you should be ready for change. You shouldn't be traditional education is you just get some information, then you use this information. Now in the age of internet, it's not and the professions change and new professions emerge every day. So it's kind of the main quality for a person is to be ready for change. And it looks remarkably similar to what KGB has been promoting.
So the
all this time.
KGB should be teaching the children. That's what you're saying.
So what I'm trying to say is imprison Elon Musk. That's what I'm trying to say.
Elon Musk.
Before he does something horrible, because he's clearly, following their strategies.
Oh my gosh.
Well, do you have? You just got me an idea, but this would be a great idea, $1 billion idea. Do you have any Russian friends who could teach? I've got an 8-year-old son. If you could teach him some coding, Russian style, he loves coding.
Troll farm.
The 2 things I would love him to learn via a Russian would be chess, because you guys are better at it. And if you could teach him chess and how to become a hacker, that'd be huge for then I would develop that doesn't need school then. He could just be
Yeah, he doesn't.
You just put him in a Russian troll farm people put their kids in where did Hogwarts or whatever.
Exactly. He loves Russia, by the way, so it'd be great for him.
Pick him up when he's 18. Say, how you doing, son? Remember me?
Some money. Yeah, cause some chaos.
Actually, speaking historically, I wanted to also point out this thing about, as I said, about the readiness to change and stuff. That was actually one of Stalin's ideas.
Oh,
in some of his work, he wrote that in the future, the way his society, and of course in his view, it was communist society, of course, the future communist society, yes. how it should develop. Is that people would work less and less during the day. They work for example, 3 or 4 hours a day, and the remaining a few hours of working day, they are reserved for constantly studying new skills and kind of reinventing yourself. So he saw this as a perfect society.
Stalin saw the future. He saw
was
the society developing.
Yeah.
For Kaplan, he predicted our lives.
He did. The podcast world.
Everyone sits inside. We're not allowed out. We have to wear masks. We can't go see anybody.
We would have loved
inside.
this. Yeah.
Kaplan and I do a podcast every day, and the rest of our 23 hours are spent, not more watching TV than learning new ideas.
We grow potatoes the rest of the day. We're good. No.
Yeah, reinventing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So what because since the last time we talked to you, we have a new president in these United States.
President-elect. I don't know if Putin has acknowledged it yet. but
Putin has.
Yeah, he did.
acknowledged
He did,
it a couple days
oh,
ago.
okay.
Yeah. So what's the thought? I know you had told us before the general idea of American presidents were one way or the other, America wasn't really run by the president, so who cares? Is it still the same with Biden?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same, and I think I said in the previous podcast that even though the president like is not the main figure there, and the deep state is the more important thing, and still Trump was seen as a more beneficial president for Russia because his image here was that he wasn't part of this establishment so much as the others, because like Biden is obvious as a person who's like he's been in government for like 50 years or something.
Sleepy Joe, 47 years, hasn't done anything.
Swampy Joe.
Of course, he's seen as the one with this establishment,
Yes,
which is in general geopolitically like American interests. So
but is there a fear that
to Russian official position, Biden is like slightly worse than Trump, of course.
I mean, could Biden? Is there a fear that he might do a sort of reset and maybe punish Russia more than?
Well, yeah, like with sanctions, with everything. So whatever, they see as the interest of the American establishment in general, Biden would be less of a nuisance to this establishment than Trump.
Yeah, I do want to point out something that was pretty amazing. So we talked about this on our last podcast. Remember, right before we recorded our last podcast, Putin had actually had a speech where he wanted to suggest or propose to America a cyber war truce. This was in September. He said, hey, guys, hacking is going to get too extreme on both ends. Let's both just stop now. But what we're now learning is that when he was making those claims in September, that offering up the truce, Russia was already in the middle of a 6-month hack into the United States of America.
What a surprise. Putin said.
Yeah. Call off the dogs, guys, and we won't count any hacks that have already been accomplished. We're going to go with, of course, but
now, let's get to Navalny, because that was and if anyone has not listened to our previous episode, go back and listen to that. That was an entire hour about Navalny and Putin and everything. But is there an update you can give us on Navalny since we last spoke?
Yeah, because actually even today there was a couple of updates since, of course. And then today in the morning, there was a very important update as well, as if specifically for us to talk about.
They knew you were coming on the air. And just to catch our audience back up, he's the political opposition to Putin, and Putin poisoned him a few months ago. That's the guy.
Well, allegedly poisoned him because Putin said the other day, he said, if I would have done it, I would have finished him off. He said something like that.
He was insulted.
Yeah. He was insulted that you pinned this shoddy poisoning on him.
So go ahead.
No, but we can. I think again, we can put allegedly, when you have this on YouTube, it's all one screen. Just put allegedly in the corner, so everything we say is allegedly.
Okay,
allegedly. Because you're getting way too popular for me to keep coming to you guys. Really. Armenians will tell everybody. They're
blabbermouths, real chatty patties over there in Armenia.
Basically the most she's been recovering. Navalny's been recovering. He's been working on the not just himself but a few of independent organizations and some of the press, investigative press, were working on the investigation of who might have done it, right? Who might have been involved with the poisoning, and using open sources and using, as I said, before, corrupt, the databases, which the security services gather about people, the data. Of course, some of the junior members of the services, they are willing on the internet, on Telegram and stuff, they're willing to sell this information to somebody.
Ah.
Just information about people, like what people went there with whom. For example, as far as I understand, it's a popular service. If somebody is expecting their like wife or husband, they're being unfaithful and going with somebody, so they pay like $100 and they get like an information about the passengers of a specific plane on which like a
real
husband.
evil private investigator.
Yeah, but now it's kind of everybody can do it, and this has been, and even since the investigation came out, a lot of journalists, including pro-Kremlin journalists, they tested this method of investigation, and they said, yes, sadly, like even pro-Kremlin ones, yes, sadly, this is very easy to do, and what is even more sad, that since the investigation, they doubled their prices. So
Capitalism.
Yeah.
So it's easy to find the information. So what did they find?
They found a special group. They made some hypothesis that maybe if it was in the workings for quite a long time, and they basically tracked a lot of his working trips over the last 3 years, and they found a group of people who were following him basically, but not like on the plane, like, so they weren't surveillance, but they were just staying in this town. They coming like a day earlier, and they stayed and they left the day earlier. And then they started kind of unpacking this, like, who are these people? Because they use fake names, of course. But then there's this software which helps, for example, if you're on Telegram, and everybody is on Telegram, it helps to see, for example, how this person is written down in other people's messengers.
Okay.
Like, for example, if somebody is from FSB, like, then would be somebody would write this guy in their Telegram contact list as like Vova FSB or something like this.
Yes. Okay.
And then they kind of started unpacking this information, and they found everything like that these people are actually FSB, that they are registered, their official address is registered like Lubyanka Square, which is the head office of the FSB. So in a way, like, and they were following him a lot. And also they found out that they were in contact, and most of them were not like agents in general, like surveillance agents. Most of them were chemists, doctors, and they were related with the institutes which worked before on the chemical weapons and stuff. So basically, you should watch this. I think I have like English subtitles there. It's a really fascinating investigation, and that's what Putin was asked about, like yesterday or 2 days ago. What we will do is press conference.
Yeah, so I know Kaplan sent it to me last night. We'll link it. We'll send it out to our Patreon subscribers so they can get the link. It's a 1-hour video that Navalny did he intros. It's almost like he's leading his own investigation.
Yeah, there was like a lot of these jokes, like in Russia, like Russians are so tough that they investigate their own murder, like something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And what's surprising in the video is that he looks relatively healthy, because I know this poisoning put him into a coma for a month or something.
Yeah.
And he came out with nerve damage.
German doctors.
All kinds of stuff. So does he seem to, maybe he'll have, and will he have a political career again? It sounds like it.
Well, he definitely has now, I think, a better political career than before.
Yeah.
Like now it's it's because especially, and basically what happened today in the morning. What happened today? And I think they were waiting to release this after Putin's press conference specifically, because what they did is on the day when the original investigation was supposed to come out, and of course, like all these people would be known, like all these FSB agents, and then of course there was some suspicion that they might disappear one way or the other.
The agents,
So the people who actually like the final point of this, like the people who are actually working, like coming and going with him. So what they did, Navalny and like the other guy working on the investigation, what they did is they started making phone calls to these people without much hope, as he explains himself in the new video. Basically, what they did, they used like a relatively simple technology to so that the number shown on their phones would be the number of the FSB. But of course, the central office or something like this.
Yeah.
But of course, it wouldn't. But of course, they have like this would be just a general phone, and of course, the agents are not supposed to be discussing anything work related on an actual like on a normal phone. They have a special line, line. So that's why he says we did it without much hope, and like out of these like 10 people which they called, 9 suspected something and didn't talk to him.
Okay, but one did.
But he was like I'm some kind of an AD to the general of like this guy, and like he was kind of dropping names so it would sound very believable. But of course, like 9 out of 10, like I said, 9 out of 10 agents don't use an actual phone.
Yeah.
But one.
But
like
one actually, because like he was calling it was very like I think it was rather smart psychologically that it was a very well-known number, and they called early in the morning, like 6 a.m.
Yeah, people are a little
so
less
that the
sharp.
person, not that sharp, and they think, oh, it's something important, so they answered. And this guy, one of the guys who was responsible, as allegedly, as he understands from his movements, responsible for cleaning up some of the evidence after the thing. He answered this, and he talked to him for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Whoa.
Basically, and the guy like during like once in a while he was like, is it okay that we're talking on a normal phone? He's like, can you shut up?
Oh my God.
Something like this.
So he's going to be disappearing next, this guy.
And now like normally he says like this is his address, this is his name, this is his real name, this is his fake name, this is his phone number. Check this. We can do a voice expertise, whatever we can do, like anything. Here you go. And in this video, he basically admits everything.
Whoa.
So
that came out this morning.
Yeah, this is a genius move too, because now what is Putin going to do? Like, it really puts the onus on Putin. He can't poison him again. I mean, he could. but I mean, if you lay out a strong case of why like somebody is tempted to murder me, this is how they did it. He's gonna get really creative. We're gonna see Putin, how creative he can be now.
No, so that's the video. Of course, like not everybody believe this, but the main arguments of Putin and the main arguments regarding this new investigate, like this video as well, is that, well, why would they do this? Why would an agent be so stupid to talk about it?
Right.
But since it's the same as Putin says in his conference, why would do you think we would be so stupid? Like if we wanted to poison him, we would have done it to the end successfully. And so this argument is kind of replicated every time, but nothing is actually said. Like there's nothing to actually refute his arguments. They just say, well, would we be so stupid? Would we be so weak? Well, apparently now it kind of looks like you are.
Apparently, yes.
I mean, is this the same? I saw part of the investigation was like one of the doctors, poison guys, turned on his phone for too long, like when he was like in the same hotel as Navalny.
Yeah. He was
so it's like people make mistakes. They're
people
not
make mistakes.
Even
exactly.
So and if someone's on them.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think that's it. That's the show. Oleg.
Teaser. Until next time.
Thank you so much.
I just like to point out when I say Putin, I mean a guy called Putin, which I met recently at a hot dog stand. And
Kaplan, we're a successful show now.
He's a hot dog eating champion. This guy you're talking about.
Yeah, when I say Navalny, I mean my dog.
Yes.
And when I say Trump, I mean somebody who was for a bit American president.
You don't have to worry about Trump anymore. You
can say whatever you want. It's Kaplan. I should say that none of those disclaimers were necessary 3 months ago when Oleg was on our show and we were a little small show. But now that we've grown, so that's a tip of the hat to us.
Tip of the hat to us. Well, we're number one in Pakistan. We got powerful listeners, so we got powerful
listeners. And go back and listen to that first one with Oleg, everybody. It was great. Oleg, thank you for doing it. Kaplan.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll have you on again. This is going to be, we're going to have to check in once every few months here because America, United States and Russia, I mean, there's never ending amount of topics.
We're united forever. So,
yeah.
Kaplan, what should we do?
Mikhail Kaplan here. I'm going to move my family to Russia. And in the meantime, get lost.
Get lost.